Good afternoon on what is a mild, overcast and slightly damp day. It is Tuesday the 11th of January. I'm back in the Read Nook with Cat, who is not ours, a nice hot cup of tea, and of course some parcels to unbox. So the next one I'm going to look at is this one, which has come from Igloo Tree. So let's find out what is in here. And there's a couple of things, I think. And what I love about receiving things sort of like from these small press sellers is they really wrap them nicely. You know, don't expect to be getting everything wrapped in tissue paper, but you do, and it's a nice touch. So let's undo this gently. There we go, and find out what's in here. And that's just reaching in. And we have All Must Bow from Bleak Horizons Press, a system agnostic setting of cosmic horror. I do like a bit of cosmic horror. I'm a big fan of Call of Cthulhu, and almost any sort of any Lovecraftian investigative role-playing type. This is basically, we open up, we've got a quick guide to safety tools, of course. Always a good idea to have those around the table these days, especially if you're gaming with someone you've never gamed with. Basically, you have them there and they're ready to just handle any issues that come up. So anyway, we're quickly into some fiction. Essentially, then we're into section 1, Bad Wisdom, overview and philosophy. So the world of tabletop role-playing games is full of games for heroes. Whatever that word might mean to you and your circle, you've been offered this role at every turn. Every genre imaginable is loaded with protagonists scouring the countryside, the cityscape, the stars and more for good deeds to do and injustices to be righted. However, more often than not, those good deeds and heroic acts can turn out to be morally grey, mercenary work and pillaging at best, and ecstatic bloodlust or revenge fantasy at worst. So, it's all gilded nicely with a shiny gold halo to make the players feel as if they are, in the end, making the world better. Even games with questionable or monstrous heroes often build themselves on a foundation of redemption or pit the monsters you play against even more terrible foes to add a teaspoon of righteousness to every action. The group that created All Must Bow, in capitals, were looking for something different, something new. There were 5 of us and we wanted to tell stories of bad wisdom together. Okay. And so, essentially, this is an anti-heroic game. What they're offering here is a game of cosmic villainy. So in All Must Bow, you play a champion of the extra cosmic beings we've chosen to call dreadful ancient things. Hereafter, the ancients. Chained to and empowered by your ancient, it is your duty to decipher its will and exert its terrible power to defy the entropy that has enveloped physical existence. As the decay of the universe accelerates, more and more people have realised what is coming. Some have panicked, and in their fear, they've forgotten their tributes to the eldritch powers that still watch from secluded places. Others have yet to feel your horrid overlord's touch at all, either incorrect in their assumptions of autonomy or devoted to abominable rivals. Okay, bloated with unclean power and faced with the dissolution of all existence, will you continue to serve as everything falls apart? Will you perish in a futile attempt to defy your masters? Okay, so we have essentially a role-playing game of characters in the service of the unknowable, committing unpalatable deeds, facing utter nihilism. So, that's different. There has been sort of an interesting sort of you playing from the other angle. The classic one, of course, you're thinking about Call of Cthulhu, for example, Lovecraft investigative role-playing, where you are facing the unknowable, dealing with the unnameable, and attempting to stave off its influence and its reach. In this, you're, as I say, you're a conduit. Essentially, whether champions spawn, victim, or something else to their ancient, your character has a relationship with aspects of terrible power. So, yeah, we'll get some more fiction. Basically, we've got here. This is introducing really what you play. Fall from grace to rise to power. And here, this is character generation, and you're determining the nature of the entity you are connected with, your species, and your homeworld, and your personal history, and you have a trait called conduit, and then essentially any power, skills, mutations, or abilities conferred on your power by their ancient are all optional. You may not even have any. You may be working by will alone. So, and there's a guide there to going through those steps. Before we get to the middle, and we have sample horrors, Ars Goetia, species, and an environment, which I'm not going to open. I'm not going to do a double unboxing. I'm going to leave that as a mystery for the moment. And then we have more species and so on with the week, and the which include the Haxa Zenko, the Quianax. Sorry, I'm really mangling those pronunciations because I've never seen these words before. They're sort of made up, and we have an example of one of those ancients there. And basically building upon them, adding traits and so on. Let me get to more story, more fiction before we come to the section of the elder knowledge for the story. Short notes. And what's interesting here is, firstly, we've got a further discussion of safety tools. Always again, never unwelcome. And then we have a discussion of choosing your rule system, because essentially this is designed to sit atop any role-playing game you choose. So you could easily take this as basically sort of like a campaign framework or a setup to sit on top of the rules you use for preference. So that again might be Call of Cthulhu, might be Trade Cthulhu, might be Fate of Cthulhu. All these are options, or you could do it with Dungeons and Dragons and literally be, play essentially either neutral or evil characters, if you wanted to. So yeah, notes for storytelling, which you're covering here, things like implementing safety tools, choosing the rule set, nature, proportion and progression, which essentially interesting things that almost Bow has no expectation that challenges will be proportionate to the player character's development in some skill tree class system or other aspect of breaking your powers and so on. The universe is vastly different. Stories will take place on worlds where the PCs are wildly more or less powerful than the average inhabitant. So essentially, this is almost multiverse science fiction kind of setting, with the characters sort of like visitors from beyond the stars sort of thing. And we have a quick discussion of setup, which is essentially we're dealing with the same forwarding handlers walking to a bar, so that might be the same master, a common end of cause, something passing by, unfortunate circumstances. The basic campaign frameworks for the player characters and the storyteller to engage in. And we have a description of options here, basically prompts and so on, before the final fiction and more. We've got and we have an illusion of order here, which is dealing with some mechanics of the play, which again they would go on top of whatever rule set you're choosing. Or if you really want to, I think you could probably play this sort of like narratively, possibly with a very minimalist set of rules. So, and the thing is, here it does address the rule set. So it is looking at Fate Core and Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, also Genesis system, published by Fantasy Flight Games, Mothership, of course, it's fitting, Powered by the Apocalypse, and so on. So those are all options, and then he's got some notes on there. These are basically single player, and you're playing this as a journal, much in the vein of something like I don't know, 1,000 Year Vampire, that sort of thing. So yeah, and then we have an end note and credits. That's actually sort of like stuck in the end there. Sort of like. So there's interesting physicality to this book. I mean, it's not just the envelope there in the middle, but also this last note. So that's All Must Bow from Bleak Horizons Press, published last year. Role-playing game of essentially exploring the influence and reach of the unknowable and how far you want to enable it effectively and serve as a conduit for it. So, thank you for watching another unboxing in the Nook. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please click the like button down below. If you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you posting those. And of course, yeah. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with some parcels and a book or game which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a cat who is not ours and a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.